Good day, everyone. For every journey in tech, every lessons learned, and every milestone, there is always a story. And welcome to another episode of the Looped podcast. And this time around, we are bringing you not just one guest, but two guests, and they are here to help you, impact you, and encourage you on community building. They'll be taking us through the journey of the real talk behind community magic. And here we have Mr. Ahmed Olariwaju, is a full stack software engineer at Indicina, and we have Mr. Precious Omonzi, is a co-founder at Kids That Code Nigeria. Join us, don't leave, and enjoy the episode. So, good evening, Mr. Precious. How are you doing today? And thank you for honoring us.
Yeah, no problem. Good evening. How am I doing? After DevFest Show day one, kind of stressed, but I think I'm okay. I'm better now.
You're better now?
Yeah, I am.
Tomorrow is still the main day.
Don't worry.
Okay.
Yeah, actually.
Good evening, Amzi. How are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm fine. At least after my section at the workshop today, so I had to take my jollof rice as usual. So everything went well.
And the people were nice, everything.
Yeah, the attendees, the organizing, and everything is awesome.
Makes sense. That's amazing. At least I knew that your day was productive and it was stressful and nice at the same time. So moving forward, without wasting much of our time, we're starting with just one question, something that would help us for those that our faces are blurred to some things about community management and anything. So we are starting with, what's one thing that first pulled you into building communities? Because with my information, I know that you two are very, very big with community building and community growth and everything. So let's start with Precious.
Okay, so one thing that first pulled me into community building or building communities, I've always loved volunteering, and it started with WordPress. I was always helping out online, but physically I was never there. So I would say someone made an impact in my life in community building, and obviously we all know who that is, Sadiq.
Oh, yeah.
So special thanks to Sadiq. I got into GDG DSC. Okay, it's not GDG OC on campus.
Not GDG OC.
Yes. So DSC Lagos, GDG OC. Then from there, I was privileged to volunteer at DevFest and some GDG events. And since then, yeah, it's been stressful, but what is stress at the end of it?
That's the goal.
Exactly.
So it's not like you're just wasting your energy.
Well, no. I mean, you're impacting people.
Yeah. And people are watching you too.
Check it first.
Yeah, people are watching you like me. That was the what I was need to realize.
Okay, that's a good one.
So, moving with you, because I realized that you said somebody impacted him for community building and everything, he volunteered. And was it similar experience you had?
Okay, for me, I would say a similar experience, but in another direction.
Okay.
So for me, I started in Ilorin while still on campus. So my first tech event was Fall Ilorin. So then the turnout wasn't that much. I'm also an attendee. Then I volunteer actually. So from the impact of that whole entire program, because I was a self-learning engineer at that time, I was still learning, trying to figure out things myself. So there were this thing that grabbed my attention about different people in the same niche you are that you don't know before. So that community, that follow program brought everybody together. Then it sparked my imagination that definitely this is something I need to explore, where I can have people in your niche that can really collaborate together to build something. So then I started discussing with a couple of colleagues in class. One of my colleagues, Dev Mohammed, so and Ken Kama and other guys that were in Ilorin before we now started looking at trying out Quora build and as well as GDG Ilorin.
So most of what you're trying to say now is because of that small baby, let's say small big step that you took to reaching out to people that now make the event this big in 2025, because I think they had it some weeks ago.
Yeah, for me, I would say it is like taking a step at a time. It didn't just get to big in 2025. It was part of being consistent with the community. So started in 2019 when we are officially have the GDG Ilorin chapter. So we started small, even we have enough attendees due to different schools around and community. So we're able to pull up those events. But our major goal is not about coming to the event, but also we get impact from leading speakers that attend most of the sessions.
Makes sense. So what is said now, if you have to like relate it to your own experience, when did you start?
So mine for community wise, so I mean in secondary school we had like a kind of computer community, but I don't always count that as anything. So officially after school started around 2017. So it was through WordPress Lagos. Yeah, WordPress Lagos. I met Sonic at WordPress Lagos.
Wow.
Online, yes. Around 2017-18. So we had a Do Action charity program. Then from there, where basically they pick charity organizations and build websites from them on that day.
Wow.
Like just one day. So that was the first time I saw Sonic in person, and most WordPress community people who knew me because I was very active on the group chat. That was the first time I saw them. And then from there, I was moved to like attend more physical meetups. Then for I also did follow. Yes, I think it was I don't remember.
Prosper, tell me why.
Yes. So we had ours in Andela. I don't know what it's called now. The office.
Yeah, Andela office at Mantua.
Yes, exactly. We had that, and we met new people. I think was I kicked out? I don't even know. Like it was a program, but I'm trying to remember how long it lasted. But it was fun. We bonded more with Sadiq. Then from there, I got to know Daniel and the likes more. And after that, DevFest, yes, ECX and Unilag, so many things improved, my contribution to the community.
Okay. So I have a question for the two of you. I know that aside from building communities, volunteering for communities, right? You guys have your personal work.
Sure.
Personal work, and that's the one funding you to volunteer and build communities. So how do you merge and combine the two together?
That's a tricky one. Yeah, maybe I should start from my career. When I started community like full time, I want to be doing community. I first didn't have opportunity to work remotely. It was more like a 9 to 5 that I have to go to the office. But there is something interesting because during my interview, they already know that I'm into community. So it was an easy step for me to always take leave for those engagements. And so it's more like it helped me. It might not be like that for other people, but so I have to kind of incorporate my personal kind of community engagement outside work to the management, so they are aware of my engagement. So yeah.
So how about you?
For me, I think I was fortunate to always work remotely. So I've been freelancing for a while, and I've done full-time jobs for still remote, and I didn't really stay so long. So I think I prefer the freelancing route. I've been freelancing for a while, so that gives me time to plan events with other organizers, or put that effort into making sure events come out successful. At least we always have event periods. I think I call October towards November DevFest period.
Yeah, sure.
So that period,
of the year is
yes, I know that most of my efforts are put into the community aspects than the work. But I have that flexi. Yeah. I have the flexibility. I'm fortunate to have the flexibility.
However, just to kind of cut in there, so I'm currently in that mode right now where it's a remote job and I have that flexibility as well. But even with that, something about me in terms of how I work is I have to be accountable. So I still always take those, those space and excuse when I have to attend to community or that require my presence. But a lot of time we do it virtually as well.
So that's moving forward. Now you said you guys you putting more efforts into community and also work. How do you manage people? We all know that there's this saying that the hardest, is it the hardest species or the hardest creators or creations, yes, to manage and to control are humans.
Yes.
And they are pretty annoying. And as a community leader, how do you manage them? How do you deal with burnouts and still manage these people? Because everybody might look, but there are still some members that will be stubborn naturally. They are just stubborn naturally. How do you tend to manage them?
So for me, I mostly focus on, in terms of DDG, I mostly focus on the volunteers. I try to coordinate volunteers who try to coordinate other people. So there's something I always tell them, just be patient with people. I try to see things from people's perspectives, and also I believe that if you give someone a valid reason to do something, they won't argue as much. Even though we have stubborn people, but if you give them a valid reason to to explain to them why they are doing what they are meant to do, it eases the stress. And also when they see that, they are not so rigid or strict, it's easier for them to listen to you and wrap up with it. But yeah, you always have those little people that, so to speak, derail, make mistakes. Let me put it that way. People make mistakes and we learn every day. And also another thing is, I noticed that with time, that thing that you keep telling them to do, gradually they now see the importance of it and they start doing it on their own.
I remember there was a time I was meant to manage, to coordinate some teams in the community. What happened was they were very, very stubborn. They were not even available. They were not replying me. I was very, very pissed. But there was just one thing I did, and that was to try to understand them. They were giving me silly excuses, I'm not gonna lie. And I was like, this same excuse you are giving to me, these are the same thing going on with me, and I'm still finding a way to make things work, but you guys are not saying it. So you're now saying you have to still understand from their perspective. What do you have to say to that?
Yeah, for me, I think one of the way we're able to kind of drive, let me say, volunteers. First of, when you are organizing and you are part of a community, maybe as a lead or co-organizer, you are officially a volunteer.
Yeah.
So we try as much as possible to pass that message first. And one of the things that does is it gives all of them sense of inclusiveness, that okay, I'm not just doing this as a volunteer, I'm part of this as well. So that way, a lot of them start taking charge of things. So it was not easy and narrowed down to how we can, I won't use the word control, but we collaborate and work together for the success of the event. So one thing we always tell them is about the success of this event is not about who is organizing, but as well the amazing volunteers that work with us to pull it out. So that's like how so far we've been able to kind of get volunteers to cooperate. But sure, there's always hard parts, calling, not sharing themselves. You have arguments sometimes and all. But yeah,
I think we see dealt with some.
So yeah, he's very correct, and also encouraging them is a factor. Like he said, making them. So I think this part of the world, when people hear volunteers, they don't really, speaking from the volunteer perspective, don't really regard them. And so the volunteers have that mindset that people don't really respect us. So you need to clear that mentality first.
Yeah.
Let them know they are part of a bigger picture. I think the last DevFest Lagos, Femi was privileged. Femi Taiwo is one of the organizers of GDG DevFest Lagos. So he spoke to the volunteers, and I think they were encouraged. because they see Femi, they look up to Femi. Yeah, he's tall. They look up to him and also otherwise. So he spoke to them, and then he told them that technically without them, DevFest would not really happen, or would not have a good experience, and that's the truth. So we try to remind them about that. See, without you guys, we are begging you guys. We are not forcing you guys. We are begging you guys to do what you need to do. So without you guys, a lot of things would not go as planned. But as usual, there's room for improvement, so you always have to chip in where they need to work on, and balance everything.
Additionally to what you said earlier before this, you said you are a volunteer, but you reach out to, you coordinate those that coordinate.
Okay, so I'm a volunteer lead. So technically, volunteers coordinate attendees, so to speak. Okay. So in a way, I'm managing people that would manage larger crowd. Yes.
Okay. So amazing. What I'm now trying to ask now is, in the sense that you are like the volunteer lead, and there's another volunteer, and there's the main volunteers, right? How do you keep them engaged? There are some scenarios that the main volunteers want to respect you, and not the person coordinating them.
Okay, so I think that's a valid question. So what we normally do is, Femi calls it a handshake. So I think I still use that term. Okay. So there's a handshake. So I let the volunteers know that, these are the people that, I will not say in charge, more like they help manage things that you need. So I call them unit reps in my own, DevFest, because so I always let the volunteers know, these are the people you talk to, these are the people like you that would assign things, any issues you have, these are the people you meet to ask questions. So that time they're handling responsibility to a subcategory, so to speak. So that way they've been prepped, and they have an idea of if there's any issue, they most likely would not meet me. They will be closer to the team members or the team leaders that are managing them. So that's how I do that.
Okay. So with this question, how do you detect, or how do you spot people with that leadership skill or potential to be a leader in the space of volunteering, in the space of community?
I think generally speaking is about someone that takes ownership. Like there's this ownership spirit that you see. It's not really about somebody overdoing things, but they take charge. So let me give you an instance into when we are managing like planning for DevFest Ilorin 2025, for instance. Just like we normally do, we get different volunteers that work with us using the same structure. They are unit members, like they lead different teams, ushering, social media and the likes. But there's one thing that if you want to try and easily spotlight, it might not necessarily be the unit lead. It might even be part of people that is under each unit. Yes. Most times, some things you forgot, they are those ones that remind us that, please, we need to do this. We need to, we forgot to post yesterday. Yeah. So we try as much as possible not to be like, because it's the unit lead, he has to do everything. Everybody should feel like it is the success of the event. So at the end of the day, looking at that aspect, you can easily spotlight that if this person is in charge, definitely is a good leader from the point of sense of ownership and accountability, and keeping track of what is being assigned to the designated units.
Amazing. So with this, we can easily spot if those that have the true potential to be a leader. If we are to say that now to the two of us, I want to ask us one funny question, which is can you share us an experience, maybe a funny experience with a team member, or a volunteer that really triggered something in you, either to continue volunteering or to want to give up at a point?
That's tricky.
Okay, it's very tricky. Let me put my leg down. It's very tricky. So I've already had experiences of volunteers that want me to give up. I think for me, I really enjoy volunteering. So it's going to be very hard for someone I'm in charge of to like make me give up, because I already have that imprint that a lot of people are going to fumble, a number of people are going to fumble, and for what they said, you look out for. There are those that will keep you going.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yes.
Yeah, those are
I don't think I've had anything that will make me really tired. Yeah, the event itself is the event that stresses you.
Exactly.
The event stresses you so much that you don't even have to like stress about the volunteer. So
I've had an experience that we were supposed to, like, the main event day, all the volunteers disappeared.
Oh. Really?
Yes.
I've not had that experience.
So so me now trying to like ask that question. There are some people that would have faced something similar, would have faced it before, and I know what it takes to get burned out, to be overwhelmed, and to still deliver.
Like they disappear, like they didn't show up.
They didn't show up. They didn't show up at all.
So my experience is most times the numbers are always like halved. So maybe maybe we're expecting 70 volunteers. Sometimes it could just like 40 or 45. Some people will give very flimsy excuses on that morning, and some would not even say anything. You will not even see. You would literally not see them. So I've prepped my mind, but I don't think I've prepped my mind not to see any volunteers at all, because that actually is very disturbing.
That's really very disturbing.
That's going to be dangerous.
Very, very. What was your own experience relating to the volunteering, either to inspire you or to make you weak and have this maybe thinking for a time or a second that you're going to volunteer?
Okay, so let me answer it this way. Even though, like I mentioned earlier, being a leader and organizer, we are also an official volunteer.
Yeah.
But I've been in the shoe where I managed and like still like more like talk to volunteers and guide them and lead them to action things out. So that brought me to why I volunteer at Oscar Fest this year. So because I've always been in the realm of volunteers do this, do that, let's put it together, let's get it done. I want to be somewhere where even if I know some of the organizer, I want to be part of volunteer. Even when I volunteer, I wasn't the lead of the unit. I want to kind of have that experience because I respect volunteer a lot. So Oscar Fest gave me that opportunity, and honestly, like I'm talking in the podcast, volunteer, we need to really give shout out to them because they make things happen. I can imagine what I go through, not a worst experience. It was really an amazing experience for me, but I'm trying to put myself in shoe of individual volunteer that comes to our events, participate without even paying them a dime. You know what that is? So I think it's a selfless service.
Yeah.
So I mostly, not just one or two, I mostly look out to them. Like anyone can inspire me, honestly, especially those that now put in much effort to get it done.
Because there are some people, the rate at which they carry this energy, you get
Yeah.
There are sometimes you just have to sit down and be like, okay, did I pay this person?
Honestly, I've been in that shoe before. That's why it pushed me, it drove me towards trying to volunteer for the first time in a community that I've never attended the event before. I know it in the past, but I like, okay, let me try it this year, and I just want to volunteer. I don't want to be like, it is Amzi coming here.
Yes.
I want to, even at that event, I know a lot of speakers and all, but I was focused on my primary objective because I imagine myself being a volunteer that's a random volunteer. I need to get the work done.
Yeah, and it's just one more. It's really what he said is very important because I've also volunteered as a normal regular volunteer, whereby I'm not leading anything. I'm just like part of one segment, and based on that, you feel there's an individual volunteer experience. There's a experience.
Honestly.
So I think for me, based on my experience around this part of the world, a number of times the organizers do not really connect with the volunteers on the day of the event. So I feel like there's that disconnect based on my experience, and although currently it's way better, but that was like the experience, the issue that happened, and based on that that it is very hard to understand what the volunteer feels, you know, and how to make things, you know, a lot of organizers think of how to make things easier for attendees, but many people don't think of how to make things easy for volunteers. But kudos to GDG Lagos. I'm not advertising anyone, but kudos to GDG Lagos. We've been putting that in place. You know, it's gradual, but we've been trying to also make the experience for volunteers not as difficult as it should be, because they will still be stressed out whether we like it or not. So
yeah, I think for me, one of the things we do differently this year in GDG Learning is we also see that pain points where most events we focus on want to gather feedback from attendees, feedback from speaker, but I don't think any event has ever thought about gathering feedback from volunteers, which is very important. So we try that approach this year. We really receive honest feedback, which, you know, because a lot of time you see volunteers, different people transfer themselves down, even though you always still try to ensure that there is lunch and all of those things, so it's not enough. So what we used to do sometimes is like we plan like after party hangouts. Why we do that is more like we create this kind of mixer like inclusiveness where you have access directly to the speakers, to the organizer. You are free. It's more like somebody that is junior, that is still volunteering, have opportunity to talk to a senior person as part of the team, or even a speaker. So it gives them the opportunity that aside from volunteering, I have space and access to this quality of people to network with.
So volunteering, what you're trying to say now is volunteering has actually done you good things, right? It has influenced you to make impact more. It has not given you bad experience. But that means I think the issue that is from my end, for me to have volunteers that all disappeared that day, but it's fine. It's just to make people realize volunteering is good. So now back to community building before we end it all. What's your take on community building?
Can you rephrase the questions? Like
what do you have to say about community building? What impact do you think community building itself gives people rather than just volunteering? You know, most of the time, for me, for instance, I started with volunteering. I can't remember the event I volunteered for first, but I got to this school 2023. So the first event I attended was DevFest, and I saw my friends. She was a volunteer, and I loved the way everything was, the corporate life and everything. I'm not used to corporate life. I was just this. Go to school, come back, sleep. Then I was like, okay, nice. Then I started volunteering, right? And it was fun. And it was true that I was able to start diving into building communities, right? Becoming a community manager, and fast forward, realizing so many things, reading books and building communities. So what is your own take on community building itself? What can you tell us about community building? How do you think it will really impact people that are interested in community building? Some people actually have interest in community building. They don't know how to start. That's why they decide to volunteer.
So I think what is beautiful about community building is it helps the ecosystem. Like Sadiq will always say, ecosystem, next billion users.
MBU.
So the president of the MBU. So it helps the ecosystem in the sense that, like you said, some people want to do some things, but they don't know how to go about it. And a lot of people are shy. So they don't know what to ask. And they're not really going to go online and ask those questions. So when, like in schools now, when there are like tech communities or any community relating to any field, whoever is interested can, just maybe go for a meetup. That's why meetups are also important, physical meetups. Go for a meetup, sit down there one day and just, hear what they have to say. And after the event, they can ask questions. I've seen people come up to me and, ask, oh, how can I going to community building? I mean, do you have to be technical? Some people actually think you have to be a developer.
Yes, a lot of people that are usually
so I always tell them that I'm a technical person, I'm a developer, but what I do in community stuff is not even technical. So you don't have to be a technical person to be communities. There are a lot of areas, because when people just hear tech, they think it's write Python, write Cross, write Go, and be arguing online. Sorry, that part was not
tech Twitter.
Sorry, tech Twitter. So just write languages and be building stuff. But it's a lot. Social media, there's marketing, there is looking for sponsors. There are different fields that you could fit into, and I try to explain to them that it's not really that, and it's also a nice thing in the sense that technically you're volunteering, so you are giving back to the community. For those people that also want to, let's say JAPA, is it JAPA? Forgot, is it Global Talent? I don't know.
Global Tech Talent. Yeah, UK Global Talent.
Volunteered. So I've had a few people come up to me. I mean, I know it's not pure. They're like, how can I volunteer for DevFest? I know it's
because they are planning.
Yes, they are planning this stuff.
Wait, so you mean there's a visa?
Global Talent visa.
A part of the requirements.
You have to volunteer.
Yeah, you should have given back to the community.
Are you for real?
Yes, it's a thing.
Makes sense.
Okay, yeah, I think for me, the way I see it is like there's this saying is over my social media, TikTok, Instagram, and I used to call myself product of the community.
Yeah.
What that means is just like everything I've become today, it's based on volunteering, leading, and being part of the community have shaped me from job access. Like a lot of opportunity I've gotten is from the community, from come and talk at this event, network with this person, work on this project. So it has given me more access. So most times, aside from the access that I have, I also then give back to the community by teaching, mentoring, to also impart newbies that are just coming in to try. Then if you want to go into community building, like he said, you have to first know which community are you trying to create, what is the primary goal of that community. Then you start attending existing community to figure out like minds, and volunteer as well to know how they do things so as to use it to shape your own new community that you're trying to build.
That's amazing.
So yeah, that's actually very good. And little addition to what he said, community building, it just it betters the environment, whichever environment is in, whether community, maybe the community is about going green, maybe the environment, it creates awareness. Depending on it creates that awareness. So I know, like GDG or GDGOC is very efficient in
GDGOC.
Yes, sorry. I learned as DSC. So
those days is DSC.
But now we are GDGOC.
No problem. GDGOC is very useful in campuses. It helps. I know it has literally helped a lot of students to come into tech and have a solid foundation. So building community creates positive impact on the society, and that way, for people who are prone to have bad influence or to be influenced negatively, if you are actively engaged in the community, you won't be thinking of doing weed or doing something else.
Honestly, yeah.
So your mind, exactly, like your mind is, the Bible talks about the idle mind being, devil's workshop and all, and your mind is occupied with positive things, and also the Bible also says there's more joy in giving than there is in receiving. So you feel like you're a part of something, and then you are contributing to a cause, and you're happy, even though you're not getting paid, but you're happy, you are impacting other people's lives. So I feel like health-wise, community is healthy. Community is healthy. Like volunteering in communities, being active in community is very healthy. Environmental wise, to create a positive impact in whichever society or community that environment that community is. So it's a lot of positive things.
So rounding it up, what's from the right to the left to the middle to the back to everywhere, what we all are saying now is community building is great, is impactful, but if you don't have ideas of how to like start building communities, start by taking that step, and that's attending events, going for meetups, volunteering. You have more experience, more insights, more knowledge to now start building communities. And now you guys told me that there's an opportunity that for a scholarship, one of the requirements is you have to.
So let me not talk. I don't really know much about global talent visa, since this is going to be public. Let me not talk much about it. All I know is a lot of people who have applied. I don't know if it's still on. I don't know if they cancelled it. I'm not sure. But last time, a lot of people who have applied with volunteering, giving back to the community is a requirement for it.
Yeah, I think my own let me say take out or take away that I would drop is that just the way we push more pressure on our LinkedIn to put I work at company XYZ, I'm a co-founder. Be readily involved in also listing all your volunteers experience, because when you want to position yourself globally, it's important because they don't just look at okay, you are good at doing this, but you've also you are selfless, you've really given out to the community things you know and you've learned. So yeah, it's important in your CV or LinkedIn or wherever.
Yes, you should always add it, especially for some roles that require community communication. So if you have that community experience, it's a plus for you. And it's actually very important. You know that this person has spoken at social events, or this person has volunteered, this person has managed a community, or this person has helped manage a community. So it's a plus for you in the CV.
Amazing. That's so amazing. Thank you so much for the insights. Thank you for the advice. Thank you for for everything, for opening our eyes to more important in you joining a community first. Community would shift your mindset. If you have a fixed mindset, it will change it to growth. More like it will engineer most of the things.
Expose you.
Sure.
Expose you, and it will even make you travel just for time. You start making money with communities. You start making money. So thank you for this episode. If you've not watched our last episode, go back and watch. And this episode is amazing. Tell a friend to watch and subscribe. Thank you for watching. See ya. Adios.
Bye.
Bye.